So trauma, from everyone's position, everyone's relative position, we may view trauma as a bad thing. Like, oh, I don't want to be traumatized, but all of trauma is an extreme version of a challenge, kind of like overly enforced over an individual, and really just kind of unknown from your relative position, and just basically it's a spectrum of energy that is usually condensed, which is just basically chocolate colors that are too mixed together, so you kind of look like, what the fuck is this dark shit? I don't want to do that. But it's because it's a new experience, it seems like it's a trauma. But a trauma is just a heavier version of what a challenge is. See, this is why we grow up on life is challenging, because life is supposed to challenge you so you can grow. But see, sometimes we become so comfortable in this concept in astrology, which I call, other astrologers call the South Node, which basically means it's kind of like you regressing on your evolution and going forward. Because even if you study Masonry, they have a concept called becoming one with the North, becoming the North Star. And all that is just basically the North Node. Because you're supposed to slowly and surely, go towards your North Node, wherever it's located at, and be able to fulfill the responsibilities and duties while simultaneously balancing your South Node. So you're not extremely running to the future while you're not extremely running to the past. See, whenever we sit still in our lives, God is going to create a circumstance, a situation, so we can be challenged or traumatized, especially even when we are born in a very difficult situation, in a very difficult circumstance, because that's God showing us that, okay, look, in past lives, you have been just kind of sitting down there doing nothing, not changing your situation, not going forward towards your North Node. You've just been kind of like regressing. So you haven't been evolving as a being, because you here as a being is here to develop your faculties. You're here to solve problems. You're here to move. You're here to travel. What happens when you don't move? Your muscles atrophy. Your bones become weaker, which is the generation that we are in right now. We're not using our, organs. We're not using our body sufficiently. We're not using our minds at all to solve any types of problems. So when you get traumatized, that's basically you being forced to go into a space that you have not explored. It's kind of like you going in a forest in the middle of the night. You can't see nothing. You don't know where the path leads to. You don't know where the fruits are. You don't know where the safety is. So you're kind of put in a situation where you have to be constantly alert. You're constantly on the alert for the unapprehending, for that incoming sense of danger. So you're constantly in a state where you're sensing danger and things like that. And sometimes our life can force us into a traumatized, challenging situation, into a dark forest. But it's for the purpose of being able to make a technology within that forest. You being able to make a torch of light within that forest. You being able to make a knife out of wood or out of stone. You need to make something out of that trauma, or that trauma is going to continuously forever hold you back. See, the goal is just to perceive it, because even within a dark forest, there's an opportunity for you to grow. There's an opportunity for you to grow within the trauma or within the challenges that life has given you. But if we don't approach that with the open mind that, this can significantly strengthen my soul, strengthen my fortress, then we will forever be, in the mindset thinking that, oh, why is God doing this to me? Why is my life so hard? Why is my life horrible? Oh, the devil is after me. All these Jewish concepts that these guys created for you to blame something outside of you, while this is actually the true nature of life. Even when you move into a dark space, your eyes actually need time to adjust to the dark. So this is what you're doing right now. Yeah, your life is fucking dark. Yeah, life is fucking hard. But guess what? When your eyes adjust to the darkness, then that level is going to be easy for you. It's like you're playing a video game and you're reaching a dungeons. You're reaching the first dungeon, the second dungeon, the third dungeon, the fourth dungeon, the fifth dungeon. And every dungeon, if you go back to those dungeons below, those dungeons are going to be easier for you to conquer. Why? Because you've already conquered them. Your eyes have already adapted to the dark that's in there. So it's no problem for you anymore. There's no problem for you anymore in there. So don't look at trauma. Don't look at challenges like it's you have to swim through that resistance, Because if you don't swim through that resistance now, Source God will always create a situation for you based on you lacking the accumulation of the transits and how these planets travel. Because basically you missed some of those spectrums that you're supposed to incorporate into your being, that you're supposed to incorporate into your soul, so your soul can be strong, so you can have a strong Merkaba, a strong mind. But whenever you don't approach these challenges, whenever you don't approach these traumas and deal with them constructively, because in these traumas you are strengthened. You make a weapon out of that trauma. You make an ability. You get increased agility, dexterity, strength, whatever it is that you're looking for. So never look at your trauma or the challenges that life is presenting you with as something bad. Because as long as that you go in with the attitude of, you know what, man, out of this, only the best will come. Out of this, I'm going to grow. Out of this, I'm going to glow. Since that's what you have chosen to perceive, and that's exactly what God's going to give it to you. It's exactly what God's going to give to you, because you've decided on that path. It's what you're perceiving. So now the chemistry of your brain will restructure itself so it can create new chemicals and new hormones that befit that perception that you have created. And it will take you on that path. Because that's basically like magical thinking. You being able to change your perception of what's going on in physical reality so that your brain chemistry is affected as well. And so then you create a whole new brain that looks at the problem from a whole new perspective. Real fucking shit.